Hello.
Hi.
So if you can tell me your first name, last name,
Yeah, so my name's Helene Flint.
and what is it that you do?
I'm a physical therapist and I'm also a trained massage therapist.
Okay. And so today is Q&A Tuesday.
Yay!
Yay! So can you tell me what does a week look like?
So a standard week is 20 hours of manual therapy. So here at Gainesville, you come and see me first for a evaluation. We go through your medical history form. We do an assessment, sort of a postural assessment, do a little bit of what we call a movement screen just to see how you're moving. We're comparing you to you, how does your left side match your right side? I take postural photographs on Mondays and I like to take them again on Fridays and then show them to you on Friday. And sometimes it's pretty obvious. There's some really interesting things to see. Sometimes it's a bit more subtle. And then we start palpating or feeling around bony landmarks and predominantly in the abdomen. And we're just sort of seeing what your body feels like, where there are areas of restrictions, where things are moving easily, maybe where you're getting some discomfort and pain, and see what that feels like. And then from there, it becomes very much treatment focused. So we do 2-hour sessions at a time. We give you at least an hour break in between so you have a chance to walk, move around, have something to eat and drink. And then on Wednesdays, we do a session where we really focus on education, on teaching you how to treat at home. And that's a huge part of what we do here. Your body's always going to move. You're always going to have a digestive system that's going to be working. And that has an opportunity to create restrictions in the tissues. And so you knowing how to look after yourself is really, really important in carrying forward the positive benefits that you get from treatment here. Depending on obviously your reasons for coming here and your background, we might have specific things that we'll discuss and show you how to work with. But we also show you techniques if you have any concerns with bowel obstruction. So we show you techniques that will help offset that and work with reducing some of the pain and discomfort, and has been shown in the past too to help mitigate some of the pain and the spasming of the small intestines if you are obstructing. And then on Friday, we do a little bit of reevaluation, and as I mentioned earlier, I show you those postural photographs. And so that's really the 20 hours over the 5 days. It's pretty standard like that.
Okay. And can you tell me how does it feel for adhesions?
So how we feel for adhesions, the way that we work, we use our hands. So we palpate with our fingers, and we're looking for areas in the body where there might be restrictions, or you might be complaining of pain. That's a pretty good indicator. But we also want to look elsewhere. It's not always just where you feel the pain that there are adhesions or restrictions in the tissues. And so we're looking at those textural changes. And it's not about, in a way, plowing through the abdomen. I joke, it's not about we have to get to your vertebrae through your belly button to start with, but it's being respectful to your body and where it's at that point in time. And we start every session with coming back and going, well, where's your body at? What are you feeling? And being, respectful of some post-treatment tenderness that might be there, or changes in bowel habits that also has an impact on how your abdomen feels. So it's all based on palpation.
Okay. And then does it hurt?
There are absolutely times that there are the areas that are really uncomfortable for some people and that are painful. We really don't want to bring you into a lot of pain. That's not really conducive to what we're trying to do. So we always talk to you, and very much in the beginning parts of sessions, we'll talk to you how to communicate so that you can let us know if that pressure is too much. Too much of a pain response, you're going to have an innate stress response, increased cortisol, increased tension in the body, and that's completely opposite of what we're wanting to achieve. But if we're in an area that's of significance to you, we may be in that same area over different days, and so there can be sort of residual tenderness. So some patients sort of describe it like, I've exercised in an area that I haven't physically moved, and so we soften our approach appropriately. So it's very much dependent on you.
Okay. And then do you use any tools like diagnose testing?
No, we don't do any diagnostic testing here. Everything that we do is manual therapy. We don't assess with any imaging. That's elsewhere to be done. But adhesions, which is what we really address, don't actually show up on any imaging. There is a scene MRI, so like scene and cinematic MRI. There's one out of the Netherlands that can show adhesions, but at the end of the day, even if you have this diagnostic imaging showing adhesions, it's still going to give us the same sort of sense of awareness. Well, in this area there are restrictions to the tissues, and so how we would approach it would be a manual therapy, would be palpating and feeling and working with respect to the person's tissues and pain levels.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to tell everybody?
No, I mean, have a look at our website. If you are interested, put in a medical history form, and we can always set up a consultation with the therapist in the location that you're interested in going to have a little bit more in-depth chat about how you are presenting and your specific concerns.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
We'll see you guys on next Q&A Tuesday.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.